Spot on.
Right, we're rolling now, we're recording, okay? So, welcome to the Vinyl Vandals. That's the first thing we need to decide what we're going to call this. Keep on toying around with different names.
Zuma wooma woom woom.
So, welcome to the Vinyl Vandals Lockdown My Top 5, okay? My name's King Fred. I've got with me today, I've got in the top there, do you want to say who you are?
Hi, I'm John.
John, he's another Vinyl Vandal, and we've got Ridla down below. Ridla, do you want to say a bit about yourself?
Hello, Ridla, Vinyl Vandal. Mainly hip hop, do the radio show for the Vandals, but we'll all contribute to it as well. The radio show's on Try Radio. Tune in every Monday night, 8 p.m.
Cool.
for all your best hip hop.
So because we can't do any shows, and because obviously the trainer detective can't go out and look at people's trainers, and we're not doing any shows at the moment, we decided just to have a chat to people about the top 5 albums. This week, Ridla's going to tell us about his top 5 USA albums. Yeah.
That's
Doesn't
correct.
necessarily mean that it's his top 5 all the time. It's just his top 5 at the moment. If he's anything like me, I change around. 1 week this is my top 5 or top 10, and the next week is something else. So start off by just tell us a little bit about how you got into hip hop, Ridla.
Well, my main music before hip hop was Sex Pistols, so it was like punk. So it was them were the early days when I was like, obviously not in 1977 when they first came out, but about 1980, 81, got into that. Got that first album. That was sort of me start of my record collection, serious record collection. I had records before that, but they were like Disney and the Fonz, would you believe? The Fonzie album.
Enough said about that, the better, I think.
Yeah. I sort of missed out on the electro stage of the thing. I knew about breakdancing and stuff.
Yeah.
But I didn't buy the records. But I'd seen hip hop on Top of the Pops. Like a few, like I seen Dougie Fresh. I'm trying to think who else was on early ones. BVSMP or whatever they're called, that horrible like love hip hop group.
I Need You. That's what.
Yes,
that was
terrible.
Yeah.
But what got us into hip hop was there used to be cassettes that came out, and they were like house compilations.
Okay.
And nearly always on the end of the house compilation, there was a couple of hip hop records.
So yeah, are you talking about like the hip hop and rapping in the house one?
No, it was like Chicago house compilations.
Okay.
And they had a couple of like hip hop tunes at the end. One was Eric B. and Rakim. It was either Paid in Full or I Know You Got Soul. I think it would have been I Know You Got Soul because that was like the big one at the time.
Yeah.
And I think the other one was LL Cool J. It was either I Need Love or I'm Bad. I think it was probably I'm Bad.
Okay.
So I started like trying to get into more stuff like that because I was getting old at the time, probably around 14, and I thought I want something just as exciting as the Sex Pistols to listen to.
Okay. So was it the rebelliousness of the Sex Pistols and the rebelliousness of hip hop that sort of like is a sort of kindred spirit?
Yeah, it's sort of. I think they sort of go together. That punk and hip hop.
Yeah.
Is it's sort of the same mentality, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I mean,
plus it's got a good connection with Malcolm McLaren, obviously with him being the Sex Pistols manager.
Yeah.
And then him moving on to coming out over to New York and seeing Africa Bambaataa and all them other DJs, Grandmaster Flash, and then him bringing it back over to, I'm not saying he's the one that brought it to the UK, because obviously there was a lot of people sending tapes over from the US to cousins, relatives over in London and what have you.
Aye.
But I think he was like the big one, because he brought out the Buffalo Girls record. And I had seen that. Obviously, that's a big, like, breakdance hip-hop tune to start off with.
Interesting.
But, yeah.
Obviously, for me, my original first music that I started liking was punk and reggae. Especially, like, you know, the Sex Pistols' first album, hated the second one. The Clash were my group, and obviously the Clash played a lot of sort of punky reggae in there. And I was already brought up on reggae. My dad had reggae songs, and, you know, dad had soul and funk songs as well, but reggae and stuff like that, and also African music. So the rebelliousness of it is obviously similar to me, you know, that kind of like in the sort of like, you know, rebel music type of thing. Reggae was rebel music, punk was rebel music, and then hip hop came along and that was rebel music. So that's interesting that obviously we've got something similar there.
And with the Clash as well, the Clash sort of, they progressed from punk, I think, to more of a funky hip hop sound, sort of.
Yeah, well,
on certain records.
Yeah, it was Mick Jones, wasn't it? It was Mick Jones. Yeah. The Clash went to America. They saw all of this breakdancing going on and just wanted to get involved in it. So they brought out that This Is Radio Clash, didn't they? And then
that's right.
Soon after that, Mick Jones went off to form the bigger Audio Dynamite, another group that I love and I've saw about 5 or 6 times. And obviously they started mixing the sort of like punky reggae with hip hop beats. They even had Sippo beatboxing for them on Come On Every Beat.
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm.
And then the first time I saw them in Newcastle, interestingly enough, they had London Posse and Whistle. Yeah, like obviously supporting them. So yeah. So from day one, obviously for me, it was like, oh, okay, this is great crossover. But anyway, enough about that then. So what I want you to do now is just obviously you pick 5, okay?
Yeah.
In no particular order. And have you got them in order, or is it just?
I've just got them in my feet down here. They're sort of, they're not in any order. They're not in like a top 5 or just ones that I really like. And I've got sort of memories for us as well.
Okay. So do you want to go with the first one? Hold it up to the camera and just let us see what it is.
I am going to go with this monster.
Nice.
Public Enemy, Yo Bum Rush the Show.
Okay.
And I'll just point out this here on the bottom, along the bottom. The government's responsible.
Yeah.
Very, very apt for this 2020 year.
In what way?
Just everything our government does at the moment, but everything the crazy American one does as well.
Okay.
But enough of them. Back to the music.
Back to the music, yeah, definitely. Well, you know, you can't have one without the other, obviously, because they were a very political band. And John,
but
the noises, please.
This one is more. It's obviously the first LP. On Def Jam Recordings.
Yeah.
It's not as political as the second, third, fourth, fifth album, because this is more. It's more of their introduction. Obviously, their first hip hop. LP. There used to be DJs on a thing called Spectrum City. Yeah. And obviously, so they know what hip hop was about. And it's more like a sort of a brag rap record. This is like typical hip hop as it was in the early 80s, you know?
Yeah. So what's your favourite track up there?
My favourite track? Oh. I really like Public Enemy #1.
Yeah.
I like my Uzi Weighs a Ton.
Yeah.
The track after Public Enemy #1 called MPE as well. That's really good.
Yeah.
It's got like I think it's a backwards siren on the chorus. It's really amazing, that one. Obviously, produced by Rick Rubin.
Yeah. What I asked though was, what's your favourite one?
My favourite.
Yeah.
Oh, you see,
that's what I asked. What was your favourite song off that album? Not all of this, not every song on the album.
With a good album, right?
Yeah.
A good album, I call it skip proof, right?
Yeah.
So skip proof means you don't just play one, you play the full LP.
Yeah.
Right?
Still not what I asked though.
Right, so I'm going to go with Public Enemy #1.
Okay.
Because it's brilliant. But you see, I got this in about, I think it's, when did it come out? 87. I got this, I think, in about, late. Oh, I can hear it. I got it like late 87, early 88. But I first got it on a cassette. And it was never off me Walkman, basically. And it just reminds us of the last year at school and my very last day at school as well.
Yeah.
We had I can't remember, it was one exam to do, and I had it in my Walkman. Yeah. And the teacher came up to us and says, "Oh, you'll have to take your Walkman out and leave it at the desk."
Right.
And she said, "Oh, what you got on?" And I says, "Oh, it's this." And I pulled the cassette out, Public Enemy, and she went, "Oh, I've heard of them." And I was like, "What?" But yeah, it's...
So, John, you got anything to ask us here about that album?
No.
No?
Actually, wait there. On that album, was the track called Sophisticated, or was that just on the Less Than Zero soundtrack?
Yes.
It's on, Sophisticated Bitch.
Yeah.
That's it. That's my favourite track off that album.
It's a
good one. That's like a sort of rock track, isn't it?
That's the only one I don't like.
That's why I chose it.
Yeah. But if you look as well, it's sort of before like Flavor Flav became what we're going to say,
the hype man.
Hype man, or the
number two.
Not the class clown sort of thing, because that's them there. That's him there. But on the back, that's him there. I don't know if you can see him. That's him there.
Yeah.
And he hasn't got his clock, and he hasn't got his shades on, but he's got a double goose jacket on.
Well, it's funny because I was listening to an interview about them, and it was Chuck D that was talking, and actually originally it was Chuck D that wore the clock, but he got sick of it being on his neck when he's trying to rap. And he basically got rid of it, and Flavor Flav picked it up, and it just became a thing. And obviously Flavor Flav being Flavor Flav, it just got bigger, and the clock just got bigger and bigger because it was just a time, like a time watch, like a time, what do you call it, stopwatch. It's funny because I used to have one, I used to wear one, I used to go to London and I got one. And then it just got bigger and bigger and bigger, and then it could become like a blooming, a train station clock. And another interesting story for me was, if you remember back in the day, I used to go to this record shop at the top of Northumberland Street called Volume.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's like every Saturday morning I used to jump on the X62 as it was, and race to town to get the best records, and that was one of my favourite slots. And I went in there, and it's where I used to go and get my punk records from originally.
And they had a good selection.
Yeah, and then I went in there and obviously started getting into hip hop. And my cousin used to send us tapes or bring tapes from America. And went in there and Billy goes, "I've got this one for you, you'll love it. Because I know the kind of music you like and that, And he put on, and it was Public Enemy #1. I goes, "What's this?" It was just so futuristic. I just like, you're just like, I don't even know if I should like this or not. It's just like, what's he saying? And just like the noise, and wow, 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 all of that. Just like, So anyway, I wasn't going to buy it. And I goes, all right, I'll buy it and take it to him just to see what. And I had to play it a few times before I actually started liking it. It was one of those ones where, I'm not ashamed to say it now. I hated it when I first heard it. Well, I wouldn't say hated it. I just didn't understand it. I was just like, I was getting into hip hop, but the hip hop I was listening to wasn't sounding like that,
Because what you've got to think is, it with this LP here, it's sort of a progression of hip hop as well, because it was all the drum machines, 808 stuff. That's mostly like this funky samples. It's starting it has started to speed up as well a bit, if you know what I mean.
I remember also a lot of people using the James Brown boom, 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 boom,
Yeah,
boom,
yeah.
you know what I mean? There was a lot of that, you know, and then all of a sudden this was like, whoa, you know, very aggressive, very industrial, going back to the punk roots, really. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I was getting out of the punk and then all of a sudden they were going back into it. For me, anyway, that's how I felt about it. But I just didn't understand it when I first heard it, you know. There's a couple of albums like that actually, music at the time, that we'll probably talk about another time, but I was just like, I didn't like it when I first heard it, you know. Just didn't get it.
I mean, everybody, when you say what's your favourite Public Enemy album, nearly everybody says the second one, It Takes a Nation of Millions, but Takes a Nation of Millions is brilliant.
Can I just stop you there? I'm seeing me bro over here saying no. Why are you shaking your head for like so vigorously for, John?
I Love Apocalypse 91. That's my favourite.
Do you? Interesting.
Yeah. No one else likes it. No one else likes it apart from me.
Interesting, because that's when I started feeling a sort of like the sort of bubble burst with them for me a bit. Do you know what I mean? Like that release. I've got it, but it didn't. It had some tracks on there that I started going back to the skip factor that Michael was talking about before, but also there's a rapper from London called Dirty Goods, and he's got a song called Forward, Skip. Put your CD or something, or your tape in the bass bin, on the bin or something. I can't remember the exact words, but really it always makes me think, because like it's like, forward, skip, rubbish, I'm just throwing it out. And for me, that album there was one of the first ones where I was like, oh, I'm skipping a lot of tracks here. Sort of like them later on, but like at first I was like, it did grab us, like, It Takes a Nation. Because for me, It Takes a Nation's my one, because it's got Night of the Living Bass Heads on.
Aye.
Yeah, and that's just one of my favourite tracks of hip-hop tracks of all time. I just absolutely love it. You know?
Oh, yeah, I agree. Yeah. It's really good.
So
I agree.
Just me. All right, then. So what's next then on your bag of tricks, Felix? Oh, ultra. Yeah?
Ultramagnetic MCs.
Okay.
Critical Beatdown. Can we just talk about the cover first?
Yeah, you just talk. It's your show. You go on with it. We just had to interrupt you.
This is what hip-hop fashion was and what everybody wanted. It's the Dapper Dan collection. Obviously, Dapper Dan is a New York fashion guru. He's massive now, you know, still. But he used to make the rip-offs of Gucci, MCM, into tracksuits, jumpers, coats. You'll see it on Eric B and Rakim and stuff like that. But that's just like the ultimate, like, tracksuit. I mean, look at this gold one here. I mean, I wouldn't wear this. I wouldn't wear that, like.
You wouldn't lie.
I would have the red and black one. That one's nice.
You got the Tesco like that one. Don't lie.
Also, underneath this bit, the Critical Beatdown. If you see the original photo, they're standing on top of a couple of rappers as well.
Right.
So I can't remember who the two rappers are.
Interesting.
You can actually see like just see. It looks like a superstar.
Right.
That's off somebody's foot. So it might be a little bit of a cool diss to Run DMC, I'm not sure.
Okay, I've never ever noticed that before in that album. I've got that album, I've never ever noticed that before or heard about that.
If you Google the proper picture, it does show you them standing on top of some other rappers.
Yeah. Have you ever Googled what the intention was?
No, it's just obviously it'll be at the time it'll have been a diss on somebody.
You're guessing, but we need to maybe check that out for another show and just find out what that was all about. Okay. So
John, obviously, Cool Keith, who went on to be Dr. Octagon.
Yeah.
You got Said G, More Love. Who's the other one?
The one who everyone forgets.
TR, isn't it? TR Love as well. But I mean, this is another one. Skip proof. Honestly.
Okay. Just interrupt you there, Michael, a second. Just go to John. What do you reckon about your second choice of albums?
I like it. Don't get us wrong, but I think I can skip through it quite easily. Yeah. I've got to be in the mood to listen to that album.
Aye.
For me, I was never massive when it was out, although I got it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it wasn't a one that got banged a lot on my turntables, yeah, or on my tapes, because you know I used to be a boxer. I used to have a lot of tapes, either illegal tapes, you know, like mixed tapes, or ones I bought because I used to go running a lot. So you know, I used to go running 2 or 3 times a day sometimes. So it was important for us to have lots of tapes on me Walkman. But for me, it wasn't one I was mad on, and now it's one of those ones where I listen to it for a bit, but it's not. I suppose for me, it's not memorable. As in, I listen to it and think, oh, it's great, and I've got some of the 12 inches as well, but it's not a one.
Well, funnily enough, I've just ordered 3 of the reissue 7 inches by them.
Have you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, back when we used to go to Walkers, there was a tune by them, chorus line. It had Tim Dog on it as well, because he was like a silent member of this group.
Affiliate, wasn't he?
Yeah, and it was massive in Walkers, that tune. Honestly, massive.
Yeah.
But it's not on this album. I think you only get it on 12.
Okay. I was going to say, because Chorus Line Part 2's on the second album, isn't it?
Obviously, they got bigger later on with what's the big tune, the
Papa Large.
Yeah, that's the one, Papa Large.
Yeah.
That was off the Four Horsemen, wasn't it?
Yeah. But then they just started releasing like silly albums of compilations, and it wasn't very good. But this is the ultimate one. This, I mean, my favourite. I like Ease Back.
Yeah. Whoa, hold on. You've jumped ahead of yourself. You tried to cheat as usual. I need what's your favourite track? What's your favourite track?
One track.
One track.
One track.
Yeah, you always try and get everything in. I'm just asking for what's your favourite track off the album. All I'm asking.
I like Break North.
Like
that's a good one. Break North. Aye, that's a good one. Another thing on this, but you'll hate it though. You'll hate it, Fred. It's got Star Wars samples on it.
That's why he doesn't like it.
Aye, but no, it's I mean, plus, it's probably made them a lot of money, this, because of The Prodigy.
Yeah.
The Prodigy has sampled this album.
Smack my bitch up.
They might as well have just recorded the album. The amount of stuff that's on it from them. But yeah, I just like that one. It's funky as anything. That one. Buy it. Go out and buy it. Get it now. Right. Put that one down.
So they don't record anymore, do they? As a group.
I got a TR Love album last year, and it's got some unreleased stuff on, and it's quite good.
Yeah, but
it's mostly it's mostly instrumental. But no, I don't think they record as a group anymore.
Okay.
I think Cool Keith's too. He's too big, isn't he? I think he's
he's a dude that did Let Me Clear My Throat as well, isn't he?
No, it's DJ Cool.
That's that DJ Cool. Sorry. Yeah.
Aye. Yeah. He's done Dr. Octagon, Blue Flowers, which is probably his most commercial one.
Yeah.
But then he's got the Black Elvis stuff. Digital stuff.
Yeah.
He's done so many different aliases, and then he did the Ultra album, which was him and Tim Dog as well.
I've got that.
He must have about 10 different aliases.
Yeah.
He's not somebody I've really, or the group even I've really checked. I've got that album, like I say, and I've got a couple of the 12 inches, but I never really, like with other groups, you sort of like follow the lineage. When they split up or whatever, they go off and do other things, and you sort of follow one or all of them or whatever. I've never really bothered following him. Like it's one of those groups I'm not a massive fan of. I don't know why. It's just I just didn't think anybody around that I used to, like something you knock about with somebody and they're listening to it as well, and you get into it because of that, or like my cousins were into it and stuff. But nobody I knew was really into them, so I just never followed it.
I think with Cool Keith, he turned a bit indie-ish, and I think that put a lot of like the hip hop heads off it.
Oh, right.
But
yeah, I would agree with that, like John. I would agree. Aye, definitely.
Okay.
But some of his latest stuff, like, it's just weird.
Aye, his solo stuff. Aye, definitely.
Some of it's good, but some of it's just like, what's going on? Because he does a lot of stuff. Dan the Automator, doesn't he? In
That's right. Aye.
Cut Chemist and not Cut Chemist, Qbert as well, doesn't he?
Yes. Aye. He's done stuff with him, definitely.
Okay.
Aye.
Shall we move on?
Nice.
Then?
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna shock you with a 2020 album.
2020
And
album?
I bet you I know what it is. It's got a pink cover.
I think it's got a what?
Pink
Pink.
cover.
Nah.
Has it not? Oh, okay.
What
Right, okay.
What is it?
It's Joe Run
Run.
PMC, and it's Joe Run Bombay and Phil Most Chill. Joe Run Bombay is from Canada.
So it's Joe Run what?
Bombay.
No, what's the
Joe
album?
Run Bombay.
What's the group called?
It's called Joe Run PMC.
PMC.
So it's like a take on Run DMC, basically.
Yeah, well, that isn't...
So it's their two names mixed together.
According to what's it called again? Spotify, they've only got Joe Run Bombay.
Yeah.
They haven't actually got that album that you've got. Interestingly enough.
It's on, you can get it on Bandcamp and stuff like that as well if you just want the digital. But with us being vinyl vandals,
yeah,
you've got to have the vinyl.
You've got it on vinyl. So I think
got to have the vinyl. I'll just show you.
Have you played that on the radio before? On the radio show?
Yes.
On the Vandals radio
yes,
show?
definitely.
And I think I played one we've been to your 5 boroughs, you know.
Yeah.
But VV headquarters, it's I think you played it there before, but I don't really know anything about it. So why is it so good?
It's just a throwback to like hip hop was.
Okay.
Basically, a beat, a scratch, a rap, and a break, and it's done really well though. It's produced amazingly.
Okay.
I mean, I think John's heard it and he likes it. Am I right?
Yep.
Can I just point out there? Can I just for those who are listening as well? Okay. John's taste in rap, it's crap. we don't use him as a hip hop barometer to check out music. Okay, so don't believe him.
I'll just stick up for him. Here. He co-hosted the Vinyl Vandals show, and he picked all good records, I think. And he done a good impression of Julie.
No, he didn't.
Hi.
But yeah. So it's got like the different tracks are like they're all like hardcore hip hop, but there's an electro type track on. There's a DJ track. There's a disco rap track, which is like disco rap is like, for those that don't know, stuff like Sugar Hill Gang, the really, really early stuff. There's a one on there like that. And it's just, for being out in 2020, it's a brilliant, and he's a really good rapper, Phil Most Chill. He's from Philadelphia.
Okay.
And he's just an amazing rapper. I mean, he's my favourite USA rapper at the moment. And I'll just show you this as well. Oops.
Can I just say as well, Fred, whilst he's doing that,
yeah, go on, John.
My music's really bad. What is above my head? Is that really bad, is it?
No, I'm not. Obviously, there's somewhere where we'll meet in the middle, but a lot of the time, you are really majorly left field, like, with your tunage and your...
Well, that's all right, because...
And you're watching.
Yeah.
You know, let's face it. Well, when we come to your selection, we'll have a chat, eh?
Okay. No, you'll just shout at us. What's this?
And obviously, the cover's done by Dan Lish.
I thought it was Dan Lish cover.
Yeah, I was looking at that thing. It looked like a Dan Lish.
Yeah, it's
actually looks a bit like the sort of like a nod towards the sort of liquidy swords type thing as well, isn't it? That kind of, you know.
Yeah.
No.
Same.
No, you're not feeling it.
No.
No? Okay.
I tell you,
but yeah, it's
I just like how fresh it is because it's like it's 2020.
Yeah.
But it's like being back in 1989, basically.
Cool.
I've told them that as well because I've done a review for them, and they sort of agreed with us. They said that's what we were sort of looking for, that sort of vibe.
It's 22 hours.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Okay, next
Just
on your
having a
list.
cup of tea there. Next. Well, it's got to be done, hasn't it?
Definitely.
Beastie Boys. Licensed to Ill.
Okay, where it all started there?
Well, it's where it all started for Def Jam, I think. Like, I mean,
Well, it's where it all started for them. They were unknown before that, they weren't they?
Oh yeah,
They
yeah,
weren't unknown
definitely.
outside New York before then, they were they? So.
Well, they were a punk band before they were hip hop band. So
to be honest,
there's that thing again, punk hip hop. Sorry, John.
To be honest, they were really big before the album came out because they went on tour with Madonna, didn't they?
Yeah.
So everybody knew who they were before the album came out.
Yeah, but not in. Well, I'm talking about from a hip hop point of view, and also obviously massive.
But it was. Yeah, but
when you're talking about Madonna, you're only talking about a certain select type of people that like them. I'm talking about like.
Yeah.
They also toured with Run DMC as well, though, at the same time.
Yeah.
So they obviously had the.
Well, on the inner sleeve, you know how like hip hop groups have like massive thank yous.
Yeah.
On the inner sleeves, I like that's another. I like reading all the inner sleeves and stuff of the covers and stuff.
Definitely.
All it says is special knowledge to Run DMC and Jam Master Jay.
Yeah.
And that's a nod to them because that's where they get their sort of style from.
Yeah. The original.
I don't know if you've seen it. Have you seen them do the tribute at the Apollo to Run DMC? The Beastie Boys.
No.
Or
was that the BET thing?
Something like that, John, I think. But if you just type in Run DMC Beastie Boys tribute,
yeah,
it's amazing. Honestly, it's really, really good. So obviously, again on Def Jam.
Yeah.
Def Jam's the one.
You know what I'm going to ask you, don't you?
Yeah. What's my favourite?
Yes.
Well, I like the storytelling rap on this one of Paul Revere.
I love that track, I've got to say. Like,
yeah.
Absolutely
yeah.
love it.
I mean, obviously, there's the big hits. No Sleep Till Brooklyn, Fight for Your Right. They're good, but they're not as good as some of the album tracks, I don't think. I mean, that Paul Revere's good. Posse in Effect's good.
I love Brass Monkey.
Yes, Brass Monkey is very... I like that one. The New Style as well. The New Style's brilliant. But
well, you know, I love Hold It Now, Hit It. And I also love the track that the Run DMC track they did, Slow and Low. Actually got it as a free floppy disk on a magazine. You remember floppy disks? You used to get them from. So I got it on
I've got some up there. I've got some.
It was free in the Record Mirror, the music magazine.
The Record Mirror.
So, yeah.
There was one free came in Hip Hop Connection with there was LL Cool J one.
Yeah.
I've got the magazine, but I cannot find the record.
I've got the record. LL Cool J, I think Depeche Mode were on it as well.
Yeah.
I've got it somewhere about. I think it's upstairs, up there actually, just on me.
Obviously, iconic album cover.
Yeah.
As well. a little story. When I was in New York, I've got a T-shirt with that on, the Beastie Boys.
Yeah.
And it's got it on the back. And I put it on because I knew we weren't going anywhere near where the Twin Towers were. I knew we weren't going anywhere, but we got sidetracked. And it was the hottest day of the year in New York. It was boiling. And we actually got sidetracked to where the Twin Towers were again, because we had been like the day before, and we got there again. And I had the T-shirt on, didn't I? And I was like, I'm saying to Catherine, I was saying, I'm gonna have to cover it up. It's gonna offend somebody just nowadays. But covered it up, had a jacket on. I was like, oh God, I'm gonna have to take it off. But nobody said anything. I mean, it's obviously you can see by the album. It's not a nice thing to see in a place like that, but it was well before that. But I think it's the first hip hop album that went to #1 in America.
Okay.
What?
Yeah. My mate down Brighton, he's painted that. A massive on the side of a house, huge. It was like a tribute to MCA.
Yeah. Nice
But,
one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I know they're controversial and stuff, or they were when they first started. I mean, some of the headlines over and like when they first come to Britain, they were ridiculous. They were saying they were like beating kids up in wheelchairs and stuff like that. And that's the gutter press for you. And they weren't doing that. It was just, I think at the time they were thinking any bad press is going to be good because they're just going to sell records. But I think they were naive then.
Mm-hmm.
When they left Def Jam, I think that's when they grew up. And obviously the second and third LPs are really good as well.
I think we've always got to remember about a lot of those early hip hop groups that we used to love and, and still have an affection for, LL Cool J. A lot of these rappers were kids. They were 15, 16, 17, 18.
Yeah, true.
When you think about how old, when you started maturing, and, some people haven't even matured at 25 to 30. So when you're 16, 17, someone's throwing lots of money at you. I think people forget that. So if they're going around being, I'm not making excuses up for them because older people should have told them better, but they weren't told better. I mean, some of the rappers at the time were quite old. So your Curtis Blow, even Run DMC were quite a bit older.
Yeah.
But Curtis Blow was kind of age then, wasn't he? Chuck D was quite an age when he started rapping. He was much older than a lot of them, and you can tell by the way his maturity of his rapping and stuff. Although Flavor Flav, then what's his excuse? But they're a lot older, and we'll forget that when people are going on about pop stars and stuff. It's like it's not really their fault. It's like, why isn't anybody educating them anywhere different? It's because they're exploiting them, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's like you say, it's if you're young and you've got money, you're going to party. You're going to do it. I mean, I think that's why. I mean, just to get off track, I think that's why a lot of people hate like Oasis and stuff. They were young kids, and they were top of the game, and they had money. What did they do? They went out drunk, and they went out and took drugs because that's what they do in Manchester.
Well, it's not what everybody does in Manchester, to be fair. Just want to that.
You know what I mean, though.
But
it's just like, if you're successful, you're going to celebrate it. And I think the Beastie Boys sort of had to, with a song called Fight for Your Right, to party. They're going to do it.
I suppose you're right in some respects. I mean, I don't agree with a bit about everybody in Manchester takes drugs. I think a lot of people in Manchester take except.
You know what I'm.
But at the end of the day, yes, they were young, but then also they're not that young anymore. They're dads. And some of the stuff, especially one of them, is it the younger one? Is it Liam? Some of the stuff now is not excusable. But what I would say is I found it quite interesting. I watched a documentary about a month or two ago with him in. I don't know if you saw it or if it's been on before, but it was on telly. Actually, he won us over a bit because it was quite interesting. He was talking about trying to get his new band up on. It was trying to get his new band up on the road. Trying to, I think he did the thing for Manchester for the arena thing, and that was all on. And, what's his group called? Is it the High Flying Bird? Am I getting that right? Or was that the wrong group?
That's Noel's group.
That's Noel's group. What's the name of his group then?
It's just it's just Liam Gallagher. It's just.
No, I don't know.
I'm sure
he had another one called BDI.
That might have been it. But it was it was interesting because he had his kids were there as well. And they were just talking about, like, cause these kids are kind of old now, aren't they? And just about them, you had these 2 kids with them, and just about them coming on the road with them and doing a bit of the tour and all of that type of stuff. It was just really interesting because you can see he's obviously mellowed down, and, obviously going back to his house where he grew up and all of that, and speaking to some of the bands that used to be, obviously Noel wasn't in it, but the others were. Some of the other people, I don't know anything about them because obviously I don't, I'm saying obviously, but anybody who knows I just can't stand that kind of music, and I really can't stand that kind of attitude. I just. But I found it interesting. I love documentaries and stuff around and biographies.
But it's just that, like you say, it's just the same for the young rappers now. I mean, you see the young rappers nowadays, and they've got like £1 million chains on and stuff like that. And instead of sort of looking after themselves for the future, like they should be, they're just going out and.
Yeah, but nobody's discouraging it either, though, isn't it? So
no, that's the thing.
The argument.
The older rappers should be, but then the older rappers get, well, you're just jealous. You're just jealous, and you're old, and you've never had the success that I've had. That's what they'll get. But
yeah. Okay. So let's move on then from the Beastie Boys.
The final one.
The final one.
Right. I'm going a bit West Coast.
Yes.
The Doc.
The DOC. No one can do it better.
Okay.
Produced by Dr. Dre, and I think it's his best production ever. Better than NWA, better than Eminem, better than The Chronic, whatever. I just think it's amazing.
That's a total boost. That's a total boost, mind.
Well, I think it is. I think it's just an amazing album. Look at the Jordan suit, and look at the Jordan suit tracksuit.
It's quality. That I'd love that.
You'd wear it now, wouldn't you?
Well, the top anyway.
But the DOC, amazing.
So why?
Well, it sort of reminds us of Going to Walk as well, this one. Because you had Is It Funky Enough? And you had Portrait of a Masterpiece, which was just played to death at that club, but everybody loved it. That Portrait of a Masterpiece, even the ravers loved that one. The dance floor would just fill to capacity when it was on, honestly. Such good memories of that, like. But it's good because it's got your slow, funky ones on. It's got a little bit of rock on it, but it's got the fast and furious ones on, like Lend Me In Here, Whirlwind Pyramid, Portrait of the Masterpiece. Plus you've got the posse cut at the end, the grand finale.
That's the best track.
Without NWA on, basically. It just, I mean, obviously that's before he had his terrible accident, and it just totally spoiled his voice. It's such a shame because I think he could have been massive him, like.
I don't doubt it.
The thing is with him now, he's a ghostwriter for most of them, so he's making his money still and everything like that. So, and he did the Helter Skelter album, but that was if his voice was like what it was originally, I think it would have been mint.
That was terrible, wasn't it?
Definitely.
It was such a
his voice was terrible, but I think if he had his voice from from that album.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah.
Just imagine where he'd been now.
I agree with that. I agree. But like you say, he's a ghostwriter for Dre. So everything that Dre does is basically him writing. So
yeah, but he did stuff for Easy as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Ren.
I think he done it for Ren as well. I think that obviously Ice Cube wrote his own stuff, but I think he does it for the modern rappers as well. I'm trying to think who I think he might have done it for The Game as well and stuff like that.
Right.
But I've seen a documentary about him, and he was being interviewed, and he lives in the life of luxury, so he hasn't really missed out. Obviously, he's missed out by being an artist in his own right.
Yeah.
Which he probably would have loved.
Was he drink driving? Was he? Is that what happened?
Drinking drugs.
Drinking drugs.
I'm not sure. He just went through the windscreen, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm sure it was drinking driving, not drink drugs, as John said. But I thought it was like some substances involved. And he went through the window of his car, didn't he? Like,
cut his windpipe, didn't it, or something?
Yeah, it did, yeah. Smashed his voice box in.
Yeah.
His teeth were in the tree that they found him by.
What's that?
His teeth were in the tree that they found him by.
That's right. Yeah. So
it's got a little bit of reggae tinge on it as well. I forgot about that.
It's
reggae, rock, rap.
It's a lesson, isn't it? It's a lesson to what we've just been talking about. These young people get this money, and just young people.
Definitely.
Because older people do it as well. But obviously, you're giving people this lot of amount of money, and they've got drink, drugs. Nobody's correcting them because everybody wants them to be that wild. Because it's a bit like obviously the documentary we just watched, Michael, about ODB.
The Wu-Tang.
Everybody wants them to be wild, so nobody's trying to tell them to calm down, either. You know what I mean? Which is a shame because everybody wants the wild one, and
because it helps sell records.
Sells records, yeah. T-shirts, records, like merchandise, records, all of that type of stuff.
I mean, I could have went for a lot of West Coast. Obviously, NWA. Could have went for Ice-T because I love the Ice-T. This album here,
Power.
I'll just show it.
Yeah.
That's just a rendering of it. But I used to love that LP. Obviously NWA could have went for that.
Yeah.
Compton's Most Wanted, I could have went for that as well because I like them.
Nah.
But it's a little bit laid back and slow.
Music with drive-by is brilliant.
Yeah, I agree.
But just me, it's also music to skip to as well. There's a lot of skippers on there. Like, there's no way I could listen to a whole album by them. Like, nah.
I know the first couple of albums, they were a bit, you have to skip a few because some of the tracks. But music drive-by, I think it's one of the ones which I can play from start to finish without having to skip it.
Okay, that's fair enough. But
after that, it just went down. I mean, there's still a few decent tracks, but because he did the solo stuff.
Most of the West Coast stuff, so Snoop Dogg's albums, I can't listen to them now. Like,
no,
can't do it. Just even his first one, it's just I'd have to skip a lot of the tracks.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think how many albums, actually West Coast albums, I can actually listen to all the way through.
Paris?
Well, yeah. I'm just going to say Paris, yeah.
Yeah.
And probably, what's the group called? The Coop. I can listen to some of their stuff. Yeah. Then I'm starting to look around and think, who else could I listen to? Funny enough, I probably listen to Warren G's album more than I listen to Snoop Dogg's album.
Yeah.
That's just, and also some DJ Quick stuff as well. Dollars and Cents, is it that? Is it, or Safe and Sound or something it's called? I can't remember what it's called now. It's got Dollars and Cents on there. Probably his third or fourth album. Love that album. The production on it by him is amazing because he's an absolutely beast of a producer. Quick, like, he doesn't get the props he deserves because some of his productions major. In some respects, I think he's better than Dre. Like, production-wise, but he doesn't always get the props that Dre gets, Dre's done some masterpieces, but then he's just not done anything since. It's like Dre's put all his whole career into 2 albums or something, and then that, or 2.5, 3 albums, and then just, that's it. It's a bit of a shame, you know. When you think, everyone goes on about Dre, but you think about it, like, production-wise, compared to people like, I don't know, Primo and people like that, and how much they've kept churning out in comparison to Dre's 1 or 2 major albums, and then you're struggling after that. Unless I don't know if you agree with us on that, but if you just think about the stuff.
No, I do agree. I do agree, because Primo seems to just have stuff out every year.
Yeah.
I mean, look at last year with the Gangstar album, but this year he's doing the new Public Enemy album, or some of it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we haven't heard that yet, though. Might be
well, he done the State of the Union was his.
Yeah.
That was his one.
Yeah.
And he's obviously he's done the Run the Jewels one as well. So.
All right then. Well, I think
he's up there. Like.
I think we'll call it a day then, if that's all right with everybody. It's thanks for giving us your top 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
And remember, we'll play some of them probably on the Vandals Hip Hop Show, Try Radio.
Yeah.
8 p.m. Monday night.
Every Monday.
Yeah.
Okay. So
and it's not just me DJing. It's all four. It's all four choosing the stuff.
Don't worry.
Because it's a team. We are the A team.
And
the V team.
We're in talks with the head honcho at Try Radio. We'll try and do some guest mixes, me and John and stuff, and try and get some stuff on as well, some other stuff. Okay, so watch out for that as well. Okay, we're not DJs, but we're definitely hip hop selectors. Okay, so watch out for that as well. All right then, thanks a lot. That's a bye from me.
Yeah,
bye.
Bye from me.
See you there.
Not me. Yeah, man.
Cheers. Bye.
Nice one.